there, beautiful beings, and welcome to my sacred space. My name is Freeven, and thank you so much for being here. Today, I just wanted to do a video to showcase my Colette BARON-REID decks. Colette BARON-REID, if you haven't heard of her name, is actually one of Hay House's most prolific deck creators. Like, she has done a massive amount of decks. Well, not really massive, but I know there are quite a lot, and I just wanted to showcase the decks that I have that were created by her. Alright, so a little bit of backstory before we dive into each decks. I had the Wisdom of the Oracle deck first. This is my first CBR deck, and right off the bat, I was just immediately enthralled with the cards, with the images. It was just so easy for me to connect with the cards, with the imagery, and I decided why not get more of her decks. I wanted to check if she has other creations out there, and so I did. I googled, I checked, I searched on YouTube, and I came across this video of a lady who was calling out CBR on some issues that they had. Like, it's a personal issue between that lady and CBR, and she was calling CBR a sham or a scam or something like that. And this was because of how she represented the different goddesses that she has in her goddess power deck. And truth be told, I got caught up with that in a way. Well, I wasn't really involved in in it in any way, but I watched the video and I kind of like, oh wow, I wonder what she is saying about this. And I didn't really find anything from CBR as regards to that. So yeah, basically that repelled me from purchasing the goddess power deck, and I really don't have any intention to purchase that deck as well. But for a while, I was really kind of like avoiding buying some of her decks just because of that one story. And I don't really know what happened. I don't really know, who's telling the truth. But what I know for sure is I was kind of like missing out on these amazing creations just because of, that one issue that I wasn't really even involved in, And so, yeah, I decided to forgo that thinking, that judgment, called myself out, and then decided to purchase other Colette BARON-REID decks, and I am just so happy. Alright, so I'm going to start going through each of the decks now, and to begin, we have the Wisdom of the Oracle. This is the first one that I got from CBR. Very simple box, I guess this was, I don't know when this was published. Let me just have a look real quick. 2015. And as you can see, it was just, simple box, nothing in the interior that we have and get to enjoy now in Hay House's decks. But look at this guidebook. That's so thick. And you know what? It has like a mountain of information. Now, one thing I like about Colette BARON-REID, look at all of the decks that she has. It's quite a lot. And what I like about her is the way that she writes is so easy to understand. You know what I mean? Like, she's talking to you, there are no difficult words that she uses. It's so conversational. I think this deck is good for beginners, or even if you're just starting out, even if it's your first deck, if you don't know a single thing about reading oracle cards, you can still make it work. The guidebook is so informative. It has a mountain of information. Like, it teaches you, it kind of like holds your hand as it teaches you how to use or how to read using the guidebook. Using the deck. For example, here, Katarina, a 3-card reading. So you actually have, it's kind of like a textbook from school, It has all of the information that you would need to actually proceed with the learning process. And I think it's very interesting. Another thing that I love about Colette BARON-REID decks is that, like I said, this can be used by a beginner because man, it's so easy to understand. Like, you would already know what the message is just by having a look at the images, by maybe the feelings that you would get once you gaze at it for a little longer. It's such a user-friendly deck. Do you know what I mean? So regardless if you are new to this or not, you can still access the wisdom that is within this deck, even if you don't refer to the guidebook. All right, so I want to go through what is on the guidebook just real quick with you guys. So for example, we got number 23 here. This is the peace card. You would have an inset. It's a black and white image of the card, and then you would have the title or the keyword over there. Here is the essential meaning. The essential meaning is kind of like the core concept of the card itself. So peace, you would have freedom from attachment, radical acceptance. So basically kind of like the meaning, like the, I don't know, like the usual meaning that you would get if you look at the dictionary or how people usually understand that word. And then you have the oracle's message. So the oracle's message is, this is where if you have a question, whether it's a yes or no, or, if you have like a specific question, this is where you would have the information. So it's kind of like your upright meaning, okay? Relationship message, of course, self-explanatory. If you're reading for yourself and it's a relationship reading, you can refer to this part so you can get the accurate, meaning or what Colette Baron-REID would like to convey for, this specific part. Now, prosperity message would refer to career readings, and I think that's just so cool, right? Like how she came up with several different meanings for one card. Oh, we're not yet done. We're not yet done. We also have the protection message. So the protection message would refer to the reversed meanings, and it goes all the way. So can you imagine all of the time and effort that she put into the creation of this deck? It's just so impressive that she was able to do all of that, like several different meanings just for one card. Imagine. Okay, now let's have a look at the cards. So this is like an older Hay House deck. So it still has that squeaky squeaky paper, but I like this one. Even though it has borders, I prefer this one because it is a good quality, cardstock that they used. All throughout, you have the keyword at the bottom, like that. I think it's cute. I love it. I love the colors that she used. Initially, I wasn't so keen on the backing. I think the red kind of like is weird to me. Red and turquoise, what? But it grew on me, I guess. I don't mind. Also, we have the face of the oracle over there, and of course, it is reversible, rightfully so, because she provides both upright and reverse meanings on her guidebook. It is quite thick. Cardstock is wonderful, and the images are stunning. I think this is, let me check, Jenna de la Grotalia. I think she has been working with the same artist for the longest time, and I think that is interesting and just amazing that she stuck with one artist. I think, branding wise, I think that's really cool because you would have the same art style throughout the rest of your creations. Just wanted to mention that. Props to Jenna because her artwork is beautiful. A lot of information, a lot of messages that you can get from each card. Like for example, chaos and conflict, This card, without reading the guidebook, what I get from this card is, you see this animal, right? And this animal has what? The stripes of a zebra, but at the same time, the strange pattern of the giraffe. So is it a zebra or a giraffe? Like, which one is breaking off, the zebra part or the giraffe part? The shape of it is the shape of the animal itself is a zebra, but there's also a giraffe in there. So, I don't really know. And most often than not, like how we perceive things causes chaos and conflict. Just because we see things differently, it doesn't mean that it is incorrect. You know what I mean? Like, there's the story of like this huge elephant, right? And one person is, I have an elephant here. Oopsie. I'll get the bigger elephant, just 1 second. So I have 2 elephants here. So this is the elephant, right? We have one person here, one person here, one person here, and another person here. So each of these 4 people would describe this creature that they're looking at. But since this is a massive creature, they couldn't see on the other side. So they're only seeing one side of the elephant, the one that they're facing. So the description that this person, standing over here, is completely different from the person who's standing over here. The ear is on the left side. Here, oh, it has 2 ears. And here, oh my, I'm just seeing this tail. And over here, no, the ear is on the right side. So, do you know what I mean? It's the same thing that they're describing, but at the same time, these people are going to argue because they're looking at something different, and they're not lying, they're describing the thing as they see it, but without going around and checking, the whole picture, the whole image, then there was chaos because those people couldn't agree on the actual creature that they're looking at. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I just wanted to give that as an example. So here, I love that she used animals, she used fairies, I love this card. There's also the concept of time here. She used like balloons. It's ethereal, it's magical, it's mystical, it's nature inspired. I love it. It's just a beautiful, beautiful deck. And as you can see, there's also faces everywhere. That is supposed to be the oracle, and she's just present everywhere. Kind of like how like this one is so faint you can't even see it. Can you see it? Nose is here, so it reminds me of how our spirit guides, our higher selves, they're just there for us. Like we can't see them immediately, like we don't even see them at all, right? We just feel them, but we know that they are there for us. Where is it here? Oh, here, right? This is a gorgeous deck. I love the images, I love the colors, the representations, and I love how I get a lot of intuitive hits using this deck. So there you go. That is the Wisdom of the Oracle deck by CBR. Well, all of the decks here are by CBR, but next one that I got from her is actually this. This is the Spirit Animal Oracle. This has 68 cards, so it is heavy. It is heavy, and it came in with, this different kind of packaging, which I think is really cool. It also has this ribbon that's so helpful. Oh, and before that, let's read this. The spirits residing in the natural world have much to share, and the secrets of their forgotten language are now available to you. Beautiful. So, let's pull. Okay. This is a thick deck, so yeah, it is really heavy. Plus, apart from it being thick, it also came in with another chunky guidebook, and you have a lot of information similar to the other one. So this deck was published in 2018, and here you would have all of the other decks by her. A lot. And then Welcome Seeker. I love how she has everything alphabetized, and at the same time it's easy to locate the meanings because you also have the table of contents over here. I think her idea is creating the deck for beginners is better than just creating the guidebook for beginners is better than creating it for, let's say, an intermediate user. Because if I would be, if I'm new at this and I get one of her decks, I would feel so welcome in a way. Do you know what I mean? Because what I would be looking at is a guidebook that provides me with so much information that will, more than anything else, inspire me to learn more about this deck or this craft. Very nice, very thoughtful, actually. So, okay, which one? Let's see. Got the groundhog. So, groundhog, you would have again the black and white representation. You have the number here, the groundhog spirit, and then the information, or kind of like the action phrase. It's time to go. You have the oracle message, which basically is the same as the oracle message earlier. This one would give you the upright meaning, or the essential meaning of the card. And then here you would have the protection message. Now the protection message is actually the meaning if it is in reverse. So, but it, ultimately it is up to you if you're going to read reversals or not, because these are your cards, and you can do whatever you want with it. So now on to the actual cards. This is actually this is more expensive than the other deck because I believe she used premium quality for the cardstock. The quality of her cards would differ. I'll show you later, but I think this is the most premium out of the decks that I have. I think this would share the same cardstock and packaging as with the Shaman's, the Mystical Shaman. I don't have that deck. But yeah, I love the backing on this one. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? It's like mandala. Yeah, very intricate designs. And the cardstock is wonderful. It is wonderful. It is matte. And look at the cards. Come on. It is so vibrant, which actually kind of like really surprises me because most often than not, a glossy cardstock would make the colors pop out more. And sometimes a matte cardstock kind of like somewhat absorbs the vibrancy of the deck, but this one is just, man, it's insane. Look at the colors. It's so beautiful. It's so stunning. I love how, it's also Jenna de la Grotalia who created the artwork. I think, let me just check. I don't want to say something wrong, but I know it's still her. Yes, it's still her. So, yeah, going back, look at that. So you'd have, look at that, like each card is a joy to look at. So you'd have the number here, the creature or the animal spirit in the middle, the keyword here, and your action phrase, which also makes it easy for you. I think this could possibly be easier to use for a beginner, just immediately using the cards because you already have. You can go off on, like, for example, the number, the color, how the animal is acting in the image itself, and then like you can see this groundhog is trying to kind of like clench, its hands on that heart when it's time to let go. It's puncturing the heart already, so it's probably causing hurt. So the natural response is to let go. So, but she also has it here. So, again, very easy to use. So, I remember, this is my first animal deck, and I'm so glad that I got it. Initially, I wasn't so sure because I wasn't that keen on the extra accessories that the animals are wearing. But, I think it's still gorgeous regardless if they're wearing crowns and whatnot. Yes, it's quite distracting, but eventually I got used to it. I would say, like the crown here, it doesn't really matter to me anymore. But initially, that was just one of my concerns. Not even like a huge concern, but it was just something that was kind of like a little bit off for me. But I love the image, man. Look at that. It's just so rich. Okay, so rich. You have a lot of like beautiful hues and tones. It's so earthy, but at the same time, you have vibrant colors, jewel tones also available in this deck, and it's just such a beautiful show or display of artistry. So I think Jenna is like one of the best artists out there in terms of like creation of decks because look at how different this is from the Wisdom of the Oracle, right? Yes, given there has been several years has gone by since the creation of that one, but you can see her growth in terms of her artwork, and I think it's just absolutely gorgeous. I also love how we have a lot of cards to work with. These are 68 cards, so yes, I would understand why it is a little bit more expensive because of the amount of cards. But at the same time, I think, you know, Colette Baron-Reid also did a wonderful job with the creation of this deck. Like, look at that. So many different information um, per animal, and at the same time, like how she directed the artwork, it's just gorgeous, right? Okay, so there you go. That is. Oh, by the way, this doesn't come with an edging. I actually colored this with this kind of like golden yellow color just because I feel like it. But I think it's pretty well. I kind of did it wasn't such a good, it wasn't a pristine job, but hey, I like it. So it works for me. So, all right, next up, which is, what's going on? Okay, the next one that I got from Colette Baron-Reid is the Wisdom of the House of Night Oracle cards. Now, this is a collaboration that she has with PC Cast, and Wisdom of the House of Night is actually a book, and PC Cast is the author of that book. And I think this deck was published in 2012. Yes, 2012. This is not published by Hay House. This is by Potter's Style. I'm not sure when Colette Baron-Reid created her previous decks. But yeah, this one, was as early as 2012. And like I said, this is a collaboration deck with the author of the book. So this is Colette Baron-REID, and this is PC Cast. And she actually included herself, and she immortalized herself by including her image in the cards, which I will show you later. I was actually looking for Colette Baron-REID in oops, gosh. Okay, sorry, I got the cards that flew. So let's have a look at the guidebook together. Okay, so yeah, this is by Potter Style, and I would say that I'm not really that keen on the production quality of this deck. I will show you more later, but just because, the this cover is, it's papery, it's made of cheap board, and yeah, but whatever. So, um, the story of the Oracle of Nyx. One morning, when the mists hung thickly in the air above the ancient castle on the Isle of Skye, the immortal vampire queen, I don't know how to pronounce her name, was unusually restless. I think this could be an excerpt from the book. So I think that's one thing that I wasn't so happy about this deck, is that it somewhat implies that you already read the book or something like that. I remember when I was doing my review for this deck, that's one of the things. If you want to have a look at the actual review for this deck, so you can also see the sharp corners, it should just be there under my playlist for all decks that I have reviewed and I've done a flip through of. Right, so over here, I would like to show you the actual meanings part of the guidebook. So you'd have 2 pages each per card. You would have the number over there, the title of the card, a black and white representation, which is, a lot bigger than the usual ones from Hay House. And then you have meanings here, and further messages here from the goddess Nyx. So that is how it would look like all throughout. And that's it. Now for the cards, it is edged in this silver. It is edged in silver, which I think is really pretty, but yeah, I had an issue with this deck. As you can see, this one, it's silver, but it's not shimmery. Well, not as shimmery as this, because I actually trimmed this deck. I used a puncher because this one had straight edges and it would stab my fingers. Really, I would just get sore fingers from shuffling the deck. I would, get cuts and whatnot. So, I decided eventually to just forgo the silver edging, at least just for the corners, because it was hurting my hand. So yeah, but it still works, and I don't actually like the thick border on this one. Normally I do. Oh, this is PC Cast, by the way. Normally I like borders because sometimes I feel like they are framing the actual image or the actual artwork, but not for this deck. Just saying it flat out like that. Yes, Magnus. What? You angry? I think Magnus is angry that I started shooting while he was sleeping and he couldn't join us. Okay, so as for the keywords, I usually use this deck for shadow work before. Well, up until now, but I think it works that for that purpose better because this one has like shadow keywords in it as well. It's a gorgeous obedience card. Yes. What's up? Do you want to join us? Do you? Yeah, Magnus is he's pissed. I didn't wake him up to join the video. Anyway, just showing you the images. I think they're pretty. So this is designed by Danielle Deschenes, and the illustrations are by Jenna de la Gribaldia. Oh my god, I guess they've been working together for like so many years. Wow. Okay, but this looks completely different from her. Well, 2012, 2015, was it 15? And then 2018, you clearly see the improvement, the journey of her art style. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, but, very simple here, and then eventually it became just so intricate with her art. I love it. So yeah, there you go. This is the Wisdom of the House of Night. I love the energy that it has, even though it's not one of my favorite decks. I still grab it quite a lot just because of the keywords that it has. It fits perfectly for my readings. I think it gives me straight edge answers as well. Like it doesn't, BS me, which is really good, but quite, shocking sometimes. Like if I would pull a card and say, maybe this is not what I wanted, so I'll continue pulling cards, or what am I doing? I would continue like shuffling the deck, and the same card that I put right back in would jump out. So yes, this calls you out on your BS. So this is the Wisdom of the House of Night by PC Cast and CBR. Now, I got these two at the same time, but we'll have a look first at the Enchanted Map Oracle 54 card deck and guidebook. Okay, I would say this is a revamped deck, because it has a different art style, a different, not art style, a different presentation, I would say. Like, different backing, different paper. It had borders, but now it's completely different. But we'll have a look at the cards later. Let me just delve into the guidebook real quick. So this is a reprint. The initial one was published in 2011. That was the one that I was telling you about with the borders, and I'm gonna try to find a photo of the backing of that one and insert it here. Okay, so there you go. Artwork is still by Jenna de la Gratalia, because the artwork, it didn't change much. They just changed several cards to include diversity. So this is not as thick as the Wisdom of the Oracle or the Spirit Animal Oracle deck, but a lot of information as well. And because this is one of her first few decks, so I would assume it's not as lengthy, I guess, but it still has all of the information that you would need. It suffices for you to start using this deck, even if you are a beginner. Okay, so you would have different spreads there, the kinds of readings, soul's intentions, and whatnot. And then onto the meanings of the cards. So you would have title of the number, the title, a key phrase over here, and then the upright meaning and the reversed. So she stuck to that up until her newer decks. She gives the upright and reversed meanings, which I think is really cool. Now onto the actual cards. Unfortunately, this revamped deck, I love. Let me just talk about the theme. To be honest, I like this box. I like this box. I like the color. I like the new artwork. Not so much of a fan of the old backing. I don't know. I mean, this one works better for me, but the sad part is the cardstock is the wafer thin Hay House cardstock. But this one is it's not that bad. It is thin. It is thin, but it is glossy, or it is smooth. It's okay. Plus, I like the fact that it doesn't have borders anymore, which gives us a little bit which gives us more of the art to look at. And I love that she changed the ribbon here. There was supposed to, before in the old version, there was kind of like a golden ribbon over here or something, and I really didn't, well, it wasn't my style. So this one is more appealing to me, and that's just my opinion. But okay, so this kind of like reminds me of the Wisdom of the Oracle in some way, but less intricate, like less elements. But of course, not less pretty. Do you know what I mean? Like it's still gorgeous. A lot of elements here. I think this is when the artist's art style is kind of it started to evolve, I guess, I would assume. But there again, you see the representation, or you see how the adaptation of the keywords are translated into the art itself, and I think it's beautiful. I love this one. Heal the ouch. um, Yeah, this one reminds me of the Wisdom of the Oracle, but because this one came out first, they just changed. I don't know which cards they changed. I guess this is one of them to add like diversity. Look at that; it's so expressive. But I don't have the initial deck, so I wouldn't know. I can't pinpoint which ones are the new or the revised cards. This one doesn't have um, an action phrase or an additional information. It's just a keyword itself. So you could either go off with your intuition or you can have a look at the guidebook if you prefer. Beautiful, right? I think it is a gorgeous deck. So there you go. That is the Enchanted Map Oracle. Now, moving on to the last CBR deck that I have. This one is the Shaman's Dream Oracle. This deck has the same packaging as the Animal Spirit Oracle. We are all sacred dreamers, dreaming the world into being. Isn't that beautiful? Yes, we are co-creators. This deck I use quite a lot, along with the Wisdom of the Oracle. And this one has an interesting cardstock. Like, I don't even know how to begin with the cardstock. But it's not glossy like the Enchanted Map, but it is, you know, kind of like on the thinner side. It's not as thin as the Enchanted Map. I think this one has a little bit more resistance, so this could probably have like a better card quality. But oops, I before we go on to the cards, I want to show you the guidebook. Of course, this is by Jenna de la Grotalia again. This is a deck published in 2021, so just this year, by Alberto Villoldo and Colette BARON-REID. Um, I'm so sorry for the little boy meowing. Yes! I'm just gonna pause it for a little while. I just need to check what Magnus wants. Just 1 second. Alright, I do apologize for that. I just really needed to give Magnus some snacks because he's being fussy. Anyway, so we're going back to the guidebook. So we have the introduction over here. It says, every thought that you hold long enough lingers in the essence of the universe and becomes a sparkling thread with the power to weave intention into the fabric of reality. We are all sacred dreamers, dreaming the world into being. What will you dream? Isn't that a beautiful introduction? I love it. And then here, offering of an oracle, dreaming the world into being. So a lot of information, which pertains to, you know, the reason why they started this deck. Symbols, they're also there, and then how to work with this deck. Again, beginner friendly, and then you would have sample readings and onto the meanings immediately. This deck doesn't have reversed meanings though. It doesn't have an inset of the card's image, but it does have additional keywords there. So commitment, sacred contract, the greater good, and then the full meaning. There you go. Now let's talk about the cards. So this one, how many? It doesn't say, no. I don't remember how many. Yeah, it doesn't say, but this is quite thick as well. You know, it's thicker because there are, oh no, let me have a look here. 64 cards, I guess. Yes. Oh wow, 64 cards. This has 68 cards. This has 64 cards. But as you can see, that one is, you know, thicker because of the cardstock itself, which is more premium, and the guidebook is also thicker as that one has also reversed meanings. This one, the guidebook is thinner, and you know, the cardstock, it is quite thinner, but it is still of good quality. The backing, I'm not quite sure. I mean, there's quite, you know, a little disconnect, I guess, with the art style, but hey, that's just my take on it. I love the cosmic style of this box. Now onto the cards. This doesn't have a border. It doesn't have edging as well. You would have the image there, which is quite simple compared to, you know, other Colette BARON-REID decks that would have like intricate designs surrounding the number. I guess maybe that is Alberto Villaloldo's influence. But yes, it's very straight up, straightforward. You'd have here title and keywords. mindful, groupthink. And then you have hollow bone, teachability, crown games, right use of power. So I think again, same with all of Jenna de la Bretalia's artwork and her style. She's able to execute the actual keywords on to the artwork, and I'm pretty sure that the creators also work with her, instructing her and giving her directions on how they would like the actual keywords to be represented. And I think it's just a beautiful display of collaboration and partnership, isn't it? Beautiful, beautiful. I love the colors. It is quite well, not, I don't I want to say like a dark deck, but you would have this one, which is different. But for the most part, it does have like the dreamlike quality because, as of course, it is the Shaman's Dream Oracle. But it is such a beautiful, beautiful deck. I love that it uses animals. It has plants. It has like this galactic feel to it, which is just beautiful. So there you go. What do you think? Which one is your favorite Colette Baron-REID deck? Do you have a collection of CBR decks as well? Please let me know in the comment section below. I would love to communicate with you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. I do respond to messages here on YouTube. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like or maybe subscribe to my channel for future videos like this. Thank you. I appreciate you being here, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye!